Well, we are back, and this is QTV This Morning. It's Thursday, the 3rd of August, 2023, and we are broadcasting from our studio in Kairaba Avenue, the Gambia, West Africa. I am Ibrahim Balde, and on the platform I have Julde Njai. Julde, good morning.
Good morning, Balde. Good morning to Mr. Adi and to our viewers from wherever you're watching us from.
The upcoming National Assembly member for Sandu.
Sandu. Trust me, I will rep that place better than the current National Assembly. I'm not even scared of saying that.
Good.
Yeah.
That's quite a brave thing. I feel slightly out of place. I'm the only one who's not wearing anything black, apart from my socks, which people can't see. But you've got black hijab, and
Have you seen my picture yesterday?
No, I haven't.
He looks so nice.
If the camera can please zoom this, don't be jealous. Don't be jealous. Our director, don't be jealous, and all the technical crew. You see how I look good?
Were you at the Sadauda Kairaba conference?
No, this is at the National Assembly.
Oh, I see. Oh.
And I solemnly swear,
yes,
I'll protect the people of Basse and URR to the best of my ability.
Wait, there you are. You're practicing for that day when you become a National Assembly member, and you'll get a beautiful brand new car as well, just like the current one.
Toyota Parado.
Yes, indeed. Or they might even be something better by then. You know, by the time you get to the House. So we wish you well, and you also want to be at the National Assembly to make a difference. So yeah.
So we'll be doing our campaign side by side, I and Julde. You know, Sandu is not far from Basse, so we will be doing the campaign side by side. Absolutely. So let them get ready. We are coming.
What happens if you are in different political parties? Will you still be campaigning side by side?
Yes, we will still be campaigning.
We'll still be campaigning side by side because I like her to win.
Country
you understand?
Country first.
Country first, yes. Exactly.
And she would want you to win as well.
All right, so on the program today, the African Court. From there, we will talk to Momodu Gajaga and, you know, on the state of the stadium.
Hot topic right now. All over social media, all over conventional media, everybody's talking about it. So definitely looking forward to that conversation.
I will vomit my disappointment here today.
Oh dear, don't vomit, please. But yeah, Gajaga will update you. And I think he also has a guest with him, and they will be discussing this.
All right. Yeah. Julde, so what's up with the African proverb?
Well, the African proverb is a bit confusing today. I don't know what it
Many times they are confusing, including today, but hit us with what it says, please.
So our African proverb this morning reads, restless feet may walk into a snake pit. Restless feet may walk into a snake pit.
Okay, now, sometimes, let me jump in here. In Europe, if they say you have restless feet, you're the kind of person who doesn't stay in one job for long. You're always moving from one job to the next. And it could be that if you do that, you end up in a worse job than the one you left because you were in such a hurry to leave the job you were in. You think, you know, I can't stand this job anymore. And you didn't think properly, you didn't plan properly, you didn't research it properly. And then it's the kind of proverbial jumping from the frying pan into the fire. You thought, oh, I'm leaving that job, and then 1 week later you think, oh, what have I done? You know, so it can happen. And I quickly just mentioned that I was almost in that situation once.
I was.
You know, back in the days when people were allowed to smoke in offices, you would go into an office and the smoke would hang in the air because everybody smoked. And so I'd gone for a job. I'd done the interview with about 5 other people, and then I got a call saying I had gotten the job. So I went along, and they said they were going to introduce me to the people who were my work colleagues and the office where I would work. It's one of those things I will never forget, because the next day I was flying to Sierra Leone. So I was going to go for 4 weeks, and then when I came back, I would be in that job. So they took me to the office to introduce me to my new workmates. And when they opened the door, the smoke from all the smokers in the office hung in the air. And so I asked the guy who would have been my manager, I said, is this where I'm going to be working and these are my colleagues? He said, I said, all of them smoke? He said, yes. I said, I've been here for 2 minutes, I already smell like a cigarette packet. I said, I couldn't work here. He said, what do you mean? He was very upset. I said, no, I could not work here. Believe me, I asked, I said, can I borrow the phone? They gave me a phone, and I phoned my old office. I said, when I come back, I'm coming back to my old job. I said, I'm not taking this job. And I never did. And so, you know, that was because had I had a chance to go around and see where I would have been working and the atmosphere, it's kind of jumping from the frying pan into the fire because in my previous office, nobody smoked. And the place did not smell like a cigarette factory. But this one, it was terrible. So, yeah, that's my interpretation. Julie, over to you.
Yeah. Like, absolutely. And I think I had that experience. I was working in a place for 3 to 4 years, and I left the place thinking that it's substandard and I wanted something better, something new, because I had the experience. I went to school, I graduated, so I wanted to explore more. Unfortunately, I went to a place where it was like the standards are zero. Everything is zero. The personnel, everything. I was like, oh, no, I can't really survive.
We are not going to name any places.
No, we are not.
Here.
We are not. Trust me.
We are not naming and shaming anybody.
It's a bad experience. It's really a bad experience. That's why sometimes, like, you know, we don't always get what we want, and you know, sometimes we should be mindful of what we really want, because it's not what is best for us oftentimes. So that is why we should be really cautious of that. Yeah, and if you want too much, sometimes you end up like you lose everything. So that's why it's good to be contented with what you feed may walk into a snake pit. So sometimes, just learn to appreciate the little that you have in life, and but if that little also where you are is toxic, it's not helpful, it's taking your sanity away, you should walk away. Because anything that is taking your sanity away, it's not worth it.
I think the walking away, and what this is telling you is that plan for it. Plan for that walking away. Don't just walk away because, you know, it's bad. Yes, it might be bad, but don't say because it's bad, I'm leaving and I'm going somewhere else. Because the somewhere else might be worse, because you haven't researched it, you haven't planned it, you haven't done any investigation into, is it going to be better for me than where I am? So yes, totally agree with you that you shouldn't just, you know, but as Balde is the one who chose it, I think we're all waiting to hear his interpretation.
Yes, exactly. I mean, sometimes you might think other things look good until when you move out. You understand? You know, my only regret of moving to QTV is people now don't, I mean, before I go to, when I was working at the QCell marketing department, I have all these promotions under my name. You know, I go up country to launch cell sites. People confuse me with Mohammed Jah. You understand? At some point, there was a time I went to a village called Jakunda, and I had people were saying, that guy is Mohammed Jah. And I was like...
And you loved that.
And I loved that. I was like...
And you're thinking, yes, in my dreams.
And the good thing is...
Was that an indirect
in fact, the good thing is I was with Mr. Yafa. You understand? Because Mr. Yafa was my, I can say my colleague when it comes to site launching, although he's my boss. At some point, we were sitting together. And there was a bottle of natural water just near, like, you know, not far from him. And people were like, oh, that's Mohammed, yeah, Mohammed. And I you know, I understand the situation.
And you were loving it?
I was loving it. So I said to Mr. Yafa, can you hand over that bottle of water to me, please? And he did. He took the bottle of water, he gave it to me, I opened it, I drank, closed it, and I gave it to him, he placed it. Without, unknowingly. They must have been
thinking that he's your assistant.
He didn't know, I mean, you know, so imagine, Mr. Ade, me standing in front of the crowd telling them, I am going to bring a cell site here. We are going to upgrade this site. We have seen that you people are struggling, but in few months we will give you a good network. You understand? So
no wonder why you left QSA.
So
if not, you would have overthrown Mohammed.
That's my only regret. And you know, promotional items. I just distribute it like that.
So you're not saying you regretted leaving that to where you are now? That's
the thing that I missed about QCell marketing. You understand? Going up country, doing things, you know, interacting with people, the locals down there. So it was a very nice environment.
But imagine if he'd been doing that, he wouldn't be here and being the star of this morning. So
but imagine people calling you Mohammed Jah. That's lovely.
That's
all
lovely.
The privileges.
Well, some of them, some of the privileges.
Well, I didn't do anything that will tarnish that name.
But you just took the vibe in. That's good. It's a good thing to be.
So QTV, I mean, you messed up my thing, man.
I was once mistaken for Akon's brother. Well, not once, like several times in the same week. It was the week of President Obama's inauguration, and on the last day, it proved to be a good mistake, because I was at the airport and this woman came up to me and said, "Your brother's in business class. Why are you in economy class?" I said, "My brother." By then I guessed they meant econ yet again. We were on the same flight. And I said, "Let me tell you, he's not my brother." And she said, "All right, it doesn't matter." She said, "Give me your ticket." And I could not believe, within 5 minutes, she had upgraded me to business class.
Wow.
And I sat just a couple of seats away from Econ on the flight out.
So Econ didn't know this situation.
Econ
He
never
didn't
knew.
understand.
No, I went and told him. I said, "Do you realize that at every function that you and I have been together in this Obama inauguration week, people keep saying to me that, oh, your brother's over there, and we laughed about it, you know, but it was, I don't think we even look vaguely alike, but everywhere we went.
Well, I mean, to some people, you might look alike.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I might look at you and say, no, it's not. But Julde might.
But it was remarkable that on at least 5 occasions that week, where he was at the same event that I was, people actually thought that we were brothers. And like I said, I don't see any vague resemblance. but you know, in the end, it worked out well. You know, I got upgraded. It's my first time in business class, and let me tell you, those people really enjoy.
Business class.
Oh my word! I thought, yeah, if I had the money, this is how I would always travel.
Business class.
You know, yeah. You know, you get on when everybody is seated, and they allow you to sit in the lounge and chill, and you've got free food, free drinks, and they even gave me a free cotton wardrobe. You know, you know,
Shirt.
to wear. It's like, you know, a dress thing, you know, for you know, after a shower, you know, like, and towel. And they said, yeah, you can keep this. I'm like, wow, so this is business class. You know, so yeah.
Because they spend a lot of money.
That's different from the aeroplane that
So
I
yeah,
used
so
like
you
15 years
being
ago.
mistaken for Mr. Ja, well, you know, sometimes these things can work out quite
My aeroplane,
beneficial.
the one that I used 15 years ago, I mean, that wasn't business class. That was, I mean, it's just like a gele.
Economy class, economy class.
All right, viewers, interesting in the studios. I mean, it's important sometimes for us to bring these things. I mean, to spice up the morning.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Know, at least to, you know, serious business sometimes is important, but it's also important to do these things. And we're saying hello to our uncle, our dad, Mr. Let, I mean, of QCell admin. He follows the program. The other day he said to me, yesterday I went to his office, he said to me, that proverb was silly. I said there was a reason why I brought that proverb.
Exactly. You brought it for a reason. So, Mr. Let, so we hope this one is not as silly. And, you know, what I like about all the proverbs, even the ones that we say are silly, they give us food for thought. You know, they make us crack our brains to come up with interpretations. They're not very, some of them are straightforward, but some of them are less. And I, even though I make fun of it, I actually enjoy the ones that are the least straightforward, because it makes you have to think about what is the meaning behind this, what do they mean, why did they come up with this particular proverb or this saying and so on, or this quote. So yeah, I mean, I enjoy them all, and I hope the viewers also enjoy them.
Yes, we'll take a short break. After the break, the program will continue. We'll be right back.
Technology has always been at the forefront of our lives, and the way we use it has evolved drastically over the years. With the advent of 5G internet, we are entering a new era of technological innovation that promises to transform the way we live, work, and play. 5G internet is capable of providing data speeds up to 100 times faster than 4G, making it the ideal solution for streaming high-quality videos, playing online games, and downloading large files on the go. 5G internet is already transforming cities across the globe, powering smart cities, self-driving cars, and virtual reality experiences that were once thought impossible. 5G internet is also paving the way for Internet of Things, allowing for seamless connectivity between devices and the creation of a truly connected world. For the first time in the Gambia, QCell is bringing tomorrow's technology to you today with the launch of QCell 5G Internet. Get ready to experience the out-of-this-world wonders of QCell's 5G Internet. For more information, call 111. QCell. We innovate, others follow.
We are back, and this is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde, and we are about to rock and roll now. I mean, the papers. Where are the papers, Julde?
We haven't seen any papers. I don't know.
I know in Europe, in trying to save the sort of the planet, they were talking about paperless office and paperless this. Well, we can't have paperless newspaper reviews, but we've been reduced to that many times because a lot of times the people who deliver them to the Q group, not our own staff, but the supplier, it becomes too late for this program. So sometimes we have to go to our mobile phones and look at some of the newspaper headlines online. I'm not sure whether we can. Can you?
Yeah, sure. We have the standard newspaper photo. Yeah. So the main headline on the standard newspaper read: Gambia warned not to send troops to Niger. Are we planning to send troops to Niger?
Well, you see, there was the threat from ECOWAS over the week that if within a week they did not acquiesce to the demands of ECOWAS, that they may use force. Exactly. They didn't say we will use force. They said we may use force. So, of course, what that meant was that various countries in ECOWAS would have to contribute troops to that invasion force, whatever you want to call it. And so it's interesting because that was exactly the debate we had in the office. And when some people were saying they were supporting it, I said, would you support Gambia contributing troops who might end up getting killed? Then all of a sudden they thought, well, no. Well, then don't say you support it. Because if you support it, then your support would have to extend to. Absolutely. However, thankfully, ECOWAS yesterday said that they are removing that threat of force. And I think one of the reasons why they've decided to remove the threat of force is because Mali and Burkina Faso have said that if ECOWAS decided to attack, they would send troops to defend Niger. So, and just as a mere coincidence, today is Niger's Independence Day, 3rd of August. Today.
Happy Independence.
What a funny independence.
So it's a weird one to wish them happy independence, but we do. We hope they have. Because, as you were saying before we came on air, some people in the country support the coup. They were jubilating in the streets when the soldiers announced that they had taken over. And you get that every time. We even had it in the Gambia in 1994. If only we knew what was coming 22 years later. But anyway. That's another topic.
That's another thing.
Yeah, that's the issue in Niger. It's not a new thing in Africa. I mean, we've seen it in Guinea, in Burkina Faso, in Mali. You know, all of these countries. You know, we've witnessed coup d'etat. So it's not a new thing. And for the fact that ECOWAS is threatening to send troops, it's not helpful. I mean, in the past they threatened that they did some sanctions for, in these countries and all that. And we've seen that there is no change at all.
Can you name the one country in West Africa in ECOWAS that has not had a coup d'etat? Can you name it?
Senegal.
Senegal.
It's the only one. The only one.
The only one.
Isn't that a disgrace?
So, I mean,
so when you're saying we're used to coup d'etats, yes, we are, unfortunately, in West Africa. Only Senegal.
So it's telling you how bad it is.
Only Senegal. Every
so these sanctions, I mean, their strategy, I think they need to really change it. They need to come up with a new strategy. And oftentimes you hear these junta members saying that what they should be fighting is the reason why people have to do coup d'etats make coup d'etats in the first place. Are the leaders who are there, who are held bent on, staying in power forever, and those that are fond of changing constitutions in order to suit themselves. They are not fighting all of these irregularities and abnormalities, but they always tend to fight coup d'etats and, against coup d'etats.
I hear you, because this was essentially what Mama Kande was saying in his speech, which is gone. In fact, I looked at...
I think one of the junta members did too. Is it Burkina Faso? The other day I was watching one of them saying, attacking ECOWAS, that what they should be addressing is the issue of why.
Well, I mean, in fact, Mama Kande's speech on one of the websites has had 20,000 views as of yesterday on YouTube, and on another one it's had 6,000 views. So it's been widely shared. In fact, the one that had 20,000 views was actually a Nigerian website which uploaded it. But the point I was going to make is that I hear all of that. But in the case of Niger, Bazoum was only elected 2 years ago. So you can't accuse him of somebody who's staying in power forever. He's been there for 2 years. So what's their excuse in his case? you know, it's a lame excuse that, yeah, if you've done it in other countries where people have changed the constitution and so on, you could probably justify it. But I'm not sure you can justify it in Niger for somebody who was elected in 2021. You know, so, you know, we need to find other ways of sort of making our protest known. And if you don't like somebody and they're in power and they're elected, do what they did in the Gambia. Vote him out. It's so simple.
Vote him out. It's very important.
So,
Yes.
Another one we have is Banjul, not Myanmar, signed, Miami signed partnership.
I was going to say, Myanmar?
Yeah, Miami.
Damn.
What happened to them again? I wanted to ask, what happened again?
Myanmar has now descended into a proper civil war. I mean, the country is completely destabilized now. The military, who, for example, it's illegal to criticize the military in Myanmar. You could be sent to jail for it. And so Aung San Suu Kyi, who they've sentenced to, I think, 22 years in prison, they decided that yesterday they announced that they had removed 5 of the charges against her, and she will only have to serve 17 years.
That's the leader.
She was
the young lady.
No, she was defending. She was the leader, and she was defending her country.
It's the young lady.
She's not young, but she's in her late 50s, so I'm not sure that counts as young. But yeah, I mean, she won an election, and the military didn't like the fact that the party they supported lost the election. Because they'd been in power so long, they assumed they would win, and so they were quite comfortable with supporting a civilian political party, but they didn't win. In fact, they were wiped out in the election. But they then staged a coup d'etat. It's not just in Africa that we have coup d'etat, and removed her, and she's in custody still. But it's Miami. I think it's Dade County, Miami, which is where my sister used to live in Miami. And they've signed, so the mayor is visiting here, and particularly at the invitation of Banjul mayor, and they gave a presentation yesterday about how they could work together. And Dade is a beautiful place, gets lots of tourists, and they were giving ideas on how Banjul could improve the number of tourism visitors that they get.
It's important for us to highlight, I mean, the roads, the feeder roads in KMC. I mean, I think these are very bad roads, and, you know, I was thinking the KMC management would have done better. This rainy season, if you use the back route, the Ibo Town route, you know, connecting to Talinding, whereby you go to Abuko, those are very bad routes, you understand? Before the election, we all said, okay, fine. We understand there is a project that is going on. That's the Mbalit project. And this is a very successful project. But I think what they have to focus on now, it's not only the Mbalit project. We need proper feeder roads in KMC.
Well, just proper roads. I'm not sure why you're saying feeder roads. We just need proper roads. But this has come up before, and KMC have made it quite clear that management and upkeep of roads is not just the councils, municipal councils. We have a roads authority. It's primarily, it's their job and their mandate. So even though sometimes we throw it at the feet of the municipal councils, it's not just their role for the upkeep, but the roads are terrible. And this morning, as we were driving, myself and 4 colleagues who were in my car, we were talking about the fact that nowhere did we see any drainage for any of the roads that we passed. And of course, because it rained last night, lots of places were flooded, and there were lots of places where we were both sets of traffic were having to use the one bit that was not swamped, like a lake, like a river. I mean, it's ridiculous, you know, and you're thinking, who builds roads without a drainage system anywhere in the world? Only in Gambia do you see that, you know. The other day, one of the newspapers had a piece, they were criticizing the drainage on Kairaba Avenue, and then the next day they were out cleaning it.
I saw it.
But if anybody knows, come to the Gamtel place, opposite Gamtel.
Opposite Gamtel, the road that leads to.
So there's a gutter But that gutter leads
Where is it
nowhere.
going?
It doesn't go anywhere. It stops.
I don't understand
It
that.
doesn't flow anywhere. So when it rains, the rain just gathers there. So I'm not even sure why that gutter. And they were clean. They sort of removed all the debris, and it was being taken away.
And those, you know, that's
why?
the problem. Because when the water comes, it stops at that point.
Yeah.
At some point, the water is blocked. It
blocked,
goes
and it
nowhere,
just goes nowhere.
and it
comes
goes back
onto the road. Yeah.
What about just, I mean, maybe paving a way where the water can flow? I mean, I think that would have really
That's
done.
it. But that gutter is the most useless gutter I've seen, because it leads absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, so, you know, I'm not sure why it's there.
It's a white
but
elephant.
you're right that these roads need to be looked at, because
Yeah.
we make the same complaint every year. Every time it rains, we have problems. Sometimes people can't even get to work because of the flooding. And that really shouldn't be happening every year, but it happens every year, sadly. You know, I sit in the office and, you know, I hear brrr, I think, oh no, it's going to rain. The road I'm going to take, it's the only one I can take at a certain point, is going to be flooded. How do I get through? I mean, yesterday I was so annoyed because the water was above my tire, and I've got a 4x4, and you know, the tires are quite high off the road, and yet the water was above the level of the
What
tire.
about people using my kind of vehicle? The water will get into
I
it.
see those vehicles, and I would never drive one of those in the. I would never drive one of those in the Gambia.
We'll talk about these things forever and nothing will come out of it.
Yeah.
I just hope that with this new construction that is going on, I just
That
hope
it makes a difference.
I hope so.
We hope so. We hope
I
so,
hope
because that's a hope we have to have. And again, one of the reasons why we were discussing the drainage was because I said to them that I noticed that they were now digging to have gutters, particularly along that highway from Airport Junction. And so hopefully somebody's thought that, oh, let's build a road and let's build drainage too. So let's hope that continues. Yeah.
If you build a road without a proper drainage, few years, that road will be destroyed as well, because the water will find its way.
Water has
and
a
it
way
will-
of corroding.
It will destroy the whole road.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, you see the road Manjai over the bridge. Every year they kind of patch the potholes,
Yeah.
and then when it rains, the rain just wears away at it, and within about 2 or 3 weeks, those potholes are there and as big or bigger than they were before. So water can be quite corrosive in that sense, and of course because of the traffic that's going over it as well, doesn't help.
Mr. Ade, I don't want to talk about problems of this country when I am 50, okay? I don't want
How old
to.
are you now?
I 37. I don't want to
Well,
come.
then come on.
Well, so but
What
by the
makes
time
you
you're
think in the
50,
next
No, I don't.
13 years,
Every-
this
I
thing
will
don't.
will
fine.
change.
I don't want to come back in 50 when I'm 50 and still
Well-
sit here and talk about. Well, things are so tough. There is no proper routes. I
okay,
don't
well, let
want that,
me
Julia.
say,
What do
well,
we
let me
have
give
in
you a
place?
spark of hope. Let me give him a spark of hope.
Okay.
Because you were saying that we hope that these roads are built. If you look at the road works that are going on now, if they are completed and they're completed successfully, a lot of the things we're complaining about, I've said to people, sometimes we have to go through this pain. Look, if things were perfect and the previous government had left us with perfect roads, we would not be talking about this.
I would say.
It's because they left us with imperfect roads. They left us with some of the worst infrastructure ever. If that is fixed, you know, if these roads that are meant to be part of the OIC project, if they're completed satisfactorily and properly, they will make a huge difference. Well, in a sense, we have to go through this pain and hope. But 13 years from now, I think, you know, I don't think you'll still be complaining. I really don't.
I don't
But we
have
have
to
to go through
complain,
this.
yeah.
We have to go through this because what we have now is rubbish. And we have to fix what we have. So once we fix the rubbish, then, you know, your children and grandchildren will enjoy.
Well, yeah.
And when you'll be telling them about, oh, when I was growing up, the road was this, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, Dad, you're exaggerating. You say, no, you know, it really was bad. And you show them, keep those pictures of all the mud and the waters and the lakes that we have to swim through with our cars. Because when things have improved, nobody's going to believe
When
it.
my dad said to me the other time, you see this Bassi road, it was a very narrow road, bushy road.
Look, I didn't
When they were paving that way, when they were creating these roads, I was standing, you know, looking at the caterpillar and all these graders. They were cleaning the roads. And, you know, we were the kids carrying some of the
Stones.
branches of
Okay,
trees,
right,
throwing it so that, you know, I was looking at my dad like this. I mean, wow, how can this happen like this?
And look at the road now.
Yeah,
Look
it's
at
big.
Big. I've been on that road. Yeah, it's big, and it's a very good road. So sometimes these things take time, but we can be very impatient. But like you said, by the time you're 50, I doubt very.
That is if we we are maintaining these roads and we are taking very good care of these roads. Oftentimes we have very good infrastructure, we have things in this country, but then it's like it's moving backwards.
We
because
start with good infrastructure and we don't upkeep, we don't
Absolutely.
maintain. Yeah.
So if you don't really take care of these roads, in the next 20 years it will go back to where it was, or even worse. So I think that was the issue. And always people, most times if you engage these government ministers or officials, they will tell you that people need to change their attitude towards everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
I think we have attitudinal problem in this country.
There was a time when there was a prospect that ministers would give a kind of monthly update on their ministries to the public, and do it in a public setting where journalists could ask questions. It never really took off, but I think it should be reinstated, because really you are spending the public's money, and you have a duty to tell the public how their money is being spent, and also you have to justify your job. Are you doing your job?
Yeah.
Really? In Sierra Leone, Anis Koroma, former president, brought it in, but after about 3 months, the whole thing just died. It just stopped. Because I think ministers found it too difficult to stand in front of journalists and have to justify, things that were not being done in their ministries. They found it too confrontational. Absolutely. And they just stopped.
But I think it's helpful because oftentimes, ministers do not actually get to know what is really happening in their ministries. Some of these things are known by journalists and other people. So it's only, good that you put it to them that this is really what is happening. Sometimes they don't know. Trust me.
Yeah, well, they
With
should
the
know,
few,
because they should get reports from the officials.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm told time is.
Yeah, I know time is against us, and we're all looking forward to the stadium discussion.
We are saying hello to our viewers. Kebe, one of my, he's my twin brother. I call him twin. We look alike. He's my look-alike.
Okay.
So he's watching, and he sent his greetings to the crew here.
And we send our greetings to you, Kebe.
You too, Kebe.
Yes. So, Mr. Ade, we'll still keep you here. We'll be taking a break. After the break, we'll talk to Momodu Gajaga and Famara Baji. Let's take a look at the state of the Independence Stadium. We'll be back.
The future is now with QCell's 5G network. Experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fixed Internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled devices. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
QCell brings you the future with our ultimate bundles. Enjoy the best voice and data bundle plans in one package. Get unlimited data packages with flexible validity and enjoy what true internet feels like. Get 30 minutes of on-net and off-net calls with 5 gigabytes of data for just $350. Or get bigger bundle packages from 10 gigabytes to 20 gigabytes with over 100 on-net and off-net voice calls and enjoy the fastest internet speed in the Gambia. You can also buy 1-day, 3-day or even 7-day packages and enjoy unlimited data bundles with uncapped speeds. Just dial *343# today and experience the limitless capabilities of the QCell network. *343# should be your favorite code to dial now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell. We innovate, others follow.
Step into the Espas Motors showroom for your luxurious name brand vehicle. Located along the Bertil Harding Highway, Espas Motors is the Gambia's authorized dealer for Chery, Kia, Ford, and now we bring you the new Peugeot model 3008 SUV. 18-inch alloy wheels, 216 inches high ground clearance, keyless entry system, start and stop button, rear parking assistance system, reverse camera, adaptive cruise control with speed limit, LED daytime running lights, front and side airbags, 8-inch HD touchscreen. Not to forget our exquisite Peugeot Landtrek double cabin pickup with 2.1-liter diesel engine, 6-speed manual transmission 4x4, hill descent control, LED daytime running lights. Espace Motors, the authorized dealer for Peugeot. Visit us today or call us on 35-22-222 or 353-4444.
Well, if you're just tuning in, this is QTV This Morning, and we've already dealt with a lot of stories here, you know, a lot of issues. I mean, thanks to Mr. Ade and Julde Njai, I mean, for, you know, bringing very positive discussions and interactions there. Now, let's take a look at the state of the Independence Stadium. And to help us take us through that, it's Momodu Gajaga, our sport reporter. Gajaga, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Balde, and it's a pleasure to always be here and talk about sports, our favorite disciplines, different sporting disciplines. But today we're talking about football. We're talking about the stadium, a very, very important national asset, especially when it comes to sports, multi-sports. But football in particular, the Independence Stadium, as you would hear in the last few days, that the ban continues. We cannot host international matches there for now, according to the Confederation of African Football, after a preliminary inspection was held 2 weeks ago. And the man who knows everything about this information concerning the inspection, how it went about, is my colleague from GRTS, Famara Baji. Famara, welcome to the studio.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for having me here, but I think that's too much. I know everything.
Well, we will get into the nitty-gritties of it. Famara, you were at the stadium when Mohamed Sidat was in the country. He was invited by the Gambia Football Federation for a preliminary inspection of the facility that we have there, because they were racing against time to get the stadium fit for the match against Congo, which is going to be in September. But it appears everything has turned to be maybe dash, or maybe a sort of a calamity, if you would like, football calamity that the fans wouldn't want to hear. You were there when he did the inspection. What are some of the things that he pointed out?
It's unfortunate. I mean, when I went there initially for reasons best known to them, I mean, they insisted that I will not follow them. I should not, be with them within the interior. I'll have to stand outside and wait. But fortunately for me, I was actually able to hear from a distance. I mean, him talking about a lot of stuff. I mean, but the major concern for him has been the safety, I mean, of the players, of the supporters. He said the stadium is constructed, or the refurbishment is done in a way that will not guarantee the safety of the players. It will not guarantee the safety of the spectators. So as a result, I mean, that for CAF, that is a major requirement. It's a major concern. He did mention that the tunnel they ordered, I mean, is very small. Imagine having 30 players within that small tunnel. I mean, we've all been watching the European leagues. I mean, you can have the whole of the team within, the same tunnel. You will still have the ball boys there. You will still have the security there. And you will still have the officials there, and still they will fit in. But he said that tunnel is too small. I mean, the seating arrangements is not done properly. The toilets where they are fixed is not okay. The barrier between the two dressing rooms, they need to remove it. I mean, there should be accessibility to the players. The two teams and the mixed zone as well is very small. So these are some of the major things he pointed out. And also having a perimeter within the stadium. We already have, I mean, a fence. Of the premises.
Which is, of course, not
exactly,
good quality.
Exactly, but he still requires another, fence between the major fence outside and that of the stand. So these are all things that he pointed out. But the major issue for him is the safety of the players and the supporters.
And when it comes to the safety of the players and the supporters, is one key thing, because nobody would want to go and play in a stadium where after the match you have a stampede, or there is an emergency, there are no emergency exits, and you have people, you know, losing their lives, or people maybe suffering injuries at the stadium. So those are things that he pointed out. But do you foresee this coming? Because with all the work that was going on from the outside, it looks beautiful, from the paintings to the seats. I did a report about it, but I always keep asking the question, will it be ready? Will it be approved by the Confederation of African Football? Were you surprised when the news came out?
No surprise to me. I mean, after the preliminary inspection, I was definitely not surprised. I mean, with my interview with him, he did mention that there must be, the Gambia Football Federation must confirm, I mean, their choice of venue, like before the first week of August. So I was trying to calculate the interval.
Yes.
And between the preliminary inspection and the first week of August, that was less than 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, let's say. So the work that is to be covered at that particular time is far more wide for the contractors to actually do that. And looking at the stadium, Gajaga, I mean, we've all been talking about this. Stadium projects are not just given to any contractor. I mean, in Europe, you have a special group, I mean, that actually, take charge of stadium projects. Here we are, we want to Gambianize it. We want to do it in a way that we don't have much idea about. And I'm so surprised, Gajaga, to know that, I mean, the man will have to come and tell us what we've done is not correct. How?
Quite disappointing.
Quite disappointing.
It's really unbelievable.
Yeah, because
when you have been clearly giving guidelines as to these are the requirements, this is how we want it to be, before you even actually started the refurbishment work or the renovation work. I think, Mr. Ade, you're itching. You want to ask a question.
It's something I feel very strongly about because, as Famara rightly says, and you've also said, CAF are very concerned about spectator safety as well as player safety. In the Gambia, we have countries around us that have built recent stadia. What would it have taken just to go there and see what are the standards that they have adhered to that have allowed their stadiums to be given the green light? You know, a bus drive, a plane drive, or a ride of 30 minutes would have taken us to stadia in Senegal, in Mauritania, in Cabo Verde, that have all passed FIFA inspection. And they would have said, oh, okay, this is why. Because the player tunnels are wide, the media area is sufficient, the car parking area is sufficient. Because if people have to flee, we've seen deaths in various countries around Africa because the old stadia, not enough place for people who were trying to run away from danger, and people ended up crushed and being killed. That's why CAF are very concerned. So they don't care if it looks nice because you've painted it nicely. No, what about all the other things that surround it? That's what they're very concerned about, and that's what's been lacking. But why did we not go and look at our neighbors and see what they did to pass the CAF inspection? What stopped us? Nothing. I'm perplexed.
Exactly. Honestly, I mean, I was saying, like, okay, I am told that what I have is not correct. You are the one telling me what I have is not correct. And you know how to make that correct. Why should you just jump up to go and do it for yourself? I'll have to consult you. Okay, Gajaga, you said this is not correct. Now we want to do it. Guide us. How should we go about it? Why didn't they engage CAF in the planning, during the planning process? Why will they have to wait until when they were with the belief that now we got everything right, we can invite them, and CAF came and virtually rubbished everything? It's just unfortunate.
I think mainly for them, it was about the pitch, the playing surface, and the stands. Of course, you have the seats there, because before it used to be bare concrete and people used to sit on it. So if you beautify that and then you have a proper pitch, that was all for them. Although the dressing room, it has long been mentioned that it was too small. It need to be expanded. The toilet facilities as well, new sanitary facilities need to be fixed as well to modern standard, because when the Chinese built the stadium in 1983, it has not gone on the major refurbishment since then, and it's 40 years since then. So it's very, very difficult. If you look at the other side of it also, especially the dressing rooms, yes, they've repainted it, they had new tiles on it, they had wardrobes for the players. There's a complaint about the dressing room also.
A major complaint. I mean, the man said the seating arrangement is not okay. The seats are high. I mean, probably, and even the measurement, he was questioning the measurement. I mean, they definitely, maybe the requirements were not met. The kind of length they were looking at, I mean, is not what he actually saw when he came here. So, you know, Gajaga, like we always keep saying this, even the gates leading to the players' dressing room, he was complaining about that one too. He said that should be a complete restricted area. I mean, nobody should have access.
That's how it happens internationally.
Exactly.
I've been to Old Trafford. That's how the players access a particular area where the only time they would have engagement with the fans is few fans who are allowed to shake hands with them before they enter
Yeah.
inside their dressing room area. So that's another thing. Even the VIP, there is a complaint about it, that they should have their own gate, and even the media also, they should have their own entrance and exit gate. That's completely different from the fan areas. But that particular place is the media, the VIP, who all come on the same gate in entering the stadium. Yes, Julde, you have something?
Yes, Famara, don't you think this is about an issue of space? Because when this was constructed 40 years ago, they were not really considering all of these things. And now football have moved to the next level. They have standardized everything. Do you think it was wise in the first place to refurbish the stadium and not construct a new one?
Well, it wasn't a bad idea. I mean, it has to space is a major issue in it, because when you look at it, like you said, I mean, the time this stadium was constructed, it's not now. And now CAF and FIFA are talking about modernizing the stadiums. I mean, upgrading them to the highest level, which if they want to go according to how they want it, we will not definitely play at this stadium. But they're trying to be a bit flexible, to be a bit lenient with us, so that at least we can do some of the things right. Even with that space, you are told the measurement of your dressing room should be this. I mean, you still have all the chance to do it that way. You refuse to do it that way. It's a matter of trying to, I mean, block some rooms, trying to clear some rooms within the interior to at least make sure the dressing room is wide to their satisfaction. But you know, it's just unfortunate. Constructing a new stadium is a whole deal of its own. I mean, definitely that's a major
a lot of money. The minimum is 15 million US dollars to have at least a minimum. That is, of course, a certain standard of a stadium.
Yes, I think, I mean, what I can't understand, I mean, they know the standard they want. You understand? They know what they want to be done. You understand? Why didn't they send an official from their end to come to the Gambia and at least do that job?
No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
Or it doesn't work that way.
And it shouldn't work
to avoid those things.
You've already been giving guidelines. Okay, there were previous inspections done at the stadium before even the ban. In fact, Gambia were issued warning. Ask him about 2014, 2015, 2016. A warning has been issued. Okay, there are certain things at the stadium. There was a time even they pointed out, they said the referees' dressing rooms are not okay. The toilets are complete crap at the stadium. They need to change the whole toilets. There was a time, there was a little improvement in it, and then that was it. But before even this ban came, these things have been on, like it has been unfolding for quite some time before we reach at this stage. So it is quite
And if I could just address Balde's point, the thing is, if we know that we have been given all these warnings, as Mr. Gajaga has just said, it should have been for us to make the request. Can you send an expert here, or we are going to employ somebody who has a record, a proven record of building stadia or refurbishing stadia. Part of the problem here is that if you want to do some of the things that are needed, you're going to have to reduce the number of spectators because you'll have to knock down certain places and so on. They didn't want to take that radical option. You want to keep the same number of spectators. You can't. You know, so lose a few thousand spectators, but get the width you need.
Exactly.
In certain things,
I think the gentleman also mentioned something very significant. I think these are contracts that should be given to people that have the technical know-how. I mean, to do this. We just talked about the issue of the gutters here. And I believe this gutter wasn't given to an expert. It was just given to a contractor, someone who is going to construct it that way. So I think that also contributes to our problem.
And Famara, this brings me to the question of where does this leave us? We are playing a crucial encounter of the Africa Cup of Nations Côte d'Ivoire 2023 qualifier. It's the last game of the qualifiers. A win for Gambia and a draw for us. It's both good result and it will see us through to our second consecutive Africa Cup of Nations if it is to happen that way. So you initially thought we were going to play home. Everybody, all the fans, we wanted to fill the stadium and make it kind of a scare, an electric atmosphere against Congo. But now that's not going to happen. We are going to play home away from home. That's going to be in Morocco, not even in Senegal.
It would have been much greater, I mean, to play the game here, like, you know, probably the team, we are already hope that, I mean, they will actually make a return to the Africa Cup of Nations. I mean, like the usual one against Angola. I mean, spectators will come down, invade the pitch in wild celebrations. But now that is not going to happen. The Gambia playing away, Gajaga, for me, it has not been a major problem with regards to the players, judging by their performance, judging by the results they've been obtaining outside. But this is a crucial game. I mean, it's hanging on a balance. Congo have a chance. The same could be said about the Gambia too. So it's going to be a difficult game. But looking at how they prepared the players are, I mean, mentally, how they've been obtaining results outside, I'm not very much concerned. I am still with the hope that, I mean, it's going to be a difficult game. But in the end, I mean, I see the Gambia returning to the Africa Cup of Nations. But my concern here is the Gambian people. Usually when we go out, it's difficult to even have a result about the game, Gajaga. I mean, there will be no live commentary, there will be no live coverage of the game for the Gambian people, which is definitely something that is not okay. Now that we are in this situation, the government should make sure they do something to ensure that at least on that day, the Gambians are up to date with every single happening in Morocco.
Absolutely. And finally, Famara, this stadium ban, if it continues, remember, the World Cup qualifiers, the draw has already been made. We are going to play in the World Cup qualifiers. So are we going to continue to play our home matches in foreign countries? That would be absolutely ridiculous if it is to continue like that. That is, if this ban still continues.
Absolute disaster, and what the ministry stated in their press release. I mean, they're going to work in consultation with the stakeholders to make sure that they try to cover, I mean, what CAF requires. But at least people should be held account for their actions. We cannot just say, okay, it happens this way. I mean, we all fold our hands. I mean, let's just forget about it and move on. I mean, what went wrong? Where? That need to be pointed out before we can actually start moving. Because I believe there should be close consultation between all the stakeholders to avoid this. But why is it that that did not happen? It's just unfortunate. I'm sure they're going to continue working on it. They will, because the money invested on it, I mean, we cannot just leave it like that. I mean, and just forget about it and say we have to struggle to build a new stadium. How long is it going to take before we can definitely build a new stadium?
Where is the money going to come from as well? Julde, you're itching to say something? Just under 30 seconds?
Finally.
Speaking of constructing a new stadium, I know you are not an engineer, but considering the fact that you've been there, do you think there's still hope for the Gambia that this stadium would, meet the requirements that, once they go back to everything, to the drawing board, do you think that we still have a chance or stand a chance of, hosting games or matches in this stadium?
Yeah, there is still a big chance. I mean, they definitely need to do what, CAF actually request and before they can come back for approvals, because they have all what it takes to at least meet all those requirements. So from the roads going to the interior and the exterior, they should be able to get that fixed on time, probably in the Gambia's second game in the World Cup qualifiers.
Yes, so we're looking forward to that. Well, thank you very much, Famara. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio to talk about the stadium, the issue that's been affecting all of us, all football lovers. Quite unfortunate, but hopefully it's going to be improved. And back to you, Balde.
Thank you very much, Gajaga and Famara, for updating us on the state of the, Independence Stadium. Hopefully, we will meet all the, demands from the authorities, at least to, be able to play in our country. Because playing at your home, I think that's an advantage, and it gives you confidence, especially when the fans are out there supporting you. So viewers, this is all we have today. Until we come you again next week, inshallah. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.